What do you say, Badger? Do you want some beer? You want some beer? Hey? You want some beer? You're not having any? It's mine. Ooh, it's another Homebrew Wednesday. Filmed this week on a Tuesday. Because I've just done some Hbw reviews. And this is one of the beers. Cheers. So, not a lot of time for anything else. I will give you a wine update. It's been fermenting all sorts of strange and weird things. It went sort of the day after I'd done it, when I shot last week's video. It went like the fruit juice does, you know, the sediment settles to the bottom, it goes clear. It was a little bit lifted from the CO2 activity up the top, and there was almost a cloud of medium sediment in the middle, almost like a pellicle. And then basically everything the day after dropped down, and the fermentation was, you know, constant, tick tick tick. But it seems to be a little bit more vigorous, or it has been the last few days, which is obviously, it now looks like when you shake the little bottles up and get the fruit sediment and juice, the particles all mixed into the juice, which is basically what it's done. Down there is yeast. It's not the bits of the passion fruit, I don't think. Well, obviously it'll be a combination of both, but the majority of that is just yeast. So yeah, it's on this sort of passion fruity orangey colour. So, Lord only knows what it will taste like. Yeah, so not a lot else has gone on this week. I got the Hbw beers last week. I was gonna, I think they came Friday. I was gonna let them settle over the weekend and then start cracking into them on Bank Holiday Monday, but we've already discussed what happens when you make plans, or you think about making a plan. It basically went south, as it always does. I did have a little clear up in my room, ready for the Hbw beers, which is where you're getting a different view. I moved my grains and went through my boxes, and I've got to get doing something, because some of the grains are getting past their sell by date, as they say, and I've got more kits than I care to mention behind this very camera. Although they're still in date, most of them are good until next year, but there are a few that run out in the next few months. Not that that really makes a great deal of difference with them. But obviously I did several videos ago say about using a combination of one or two and some grains to one, get rid of them, and two, create a beer that you suggested. And I have still got that bit of paper, because I did actually find it amongst all my well, the wife calls it junk, but I call it useful stuff. But I did manage to have a little reorganisation. I gained some more cupboard space for my glasses, which keep growing almost with the frequency of I buy a beer, I buy a glass, but not quite as regular. Or if I happen to go out for a drink and there's a nice glass. Like this one I bought for the Hbw beers. I wanted a pint glass that didn't have any widget etched into the bottom. Unfortunately, it is an Alhambra glass, but obviously it will never see an Alhambra in it, because it's not that great. But it was the only one we had that matched all the criteria I wanted at the time. But my beer cellar is there, which I have got. If you've been watching Kevin Clements, he'd done a series of videos on St Bernardus Brewery beers. Here's one of them. I was going to do, or I will, hopefully if I get bloody chance, the same thing. Although St Bernardus brew abbey style beers. They don't actually have any connection to a monastery or an abbey. They are just a general brewery that adopted the name, and they used to brew West Flatron's Westy beers, contract brew, until the Trappist beers became basically a trademark, and to declare your beer Trappist then it must be brewed in the grounds of a monastery by or under the supervision of monks. So I've been collecting a few of the Trappist, genuine Trappist beers. A lot of the books say there's only 7 Trappist breweries, but there are actually now 10. 2 in Holland, 1 in Austria, I think I mentioned this before, 1 in America now, which is the only beer I haven't been able to source in the time frame. Or at least one of the beers, because obviously there's La Trappe do absolutely, I think about 6 or 7 beers. So to do something like Kevin done with sort of like 5 or 6 beers that they produce, is going to take a bit of money. Because La Trappe do quite a few beers. This is their quad, but they do a blonde, a triple, a double, possibly even like a house beer that's not commercially available generally, which is what I've managed to get. Another Netherlands or Dutch Trappist brewery is this one, which I had to get this one from Europe. This is the I think it's Austrian Gregorius, which is another Trappist recognised beer. And of course the Chimay. Most of you know there's a blue cap, a red cap and a white cap, which is their sort of triple blonde and double. There's also this one which you can't generally get. So I plan on sort of building up a collection of each Trappist brewery's available beers and doing a little video review of each of their offerings, as it were, when I get chance and time. Going Westmalle, you get a triple and a double. I haven't got, I've had them before, but you get the Westmalle double, which I prefer. There's a triple, but there's also this one, which isn't generally available. Well, I think there are possibly plans. I think they did make some of that for the American market and release it, but it's not sort of commonly available like the other 2 are. And of course the other brewery that shares the bottle but has no label is the Westy 12s. But I've got other various beers here. I've got quads, the Ab 12, I've got the American ones at the back, an 8 wire, there's an Armiger, some decent beers that I'm sort of just saving to drink and enjoy. Sort of a relaxed thing, but you know, I'll put the camera up as well and share a beer with you, rather than just, you know, neck a beer and be done with it, with the sort of general type that you can get from your average shop or Tesco, your supermarkets. They tend to do some of the European beers now, although they're not always the same guys. Some of them are contract brewed from other breweries for Tesco's and Morrison's and Asda, and they're not actually, they'll say, like, I can't give you an exact name, but a German wheat beer. We get the German wheat beer from the German brewery or from the German supplier, where Tesco's volume, I suppose, is contract brewed by someone else. So it's not always necessarily the taste. I think it's, again, it's some of this cosmetic thing, because our bottles come from Germany. Germany has the bottles back. They clean them, they recycle them, they refill them, and they use them again, just like we used to with milk bottles. And obviously the Tesco's ones are all nice, shiny, clean, posh ones that aren't never been used and will never get used again. Must waffle on a little bit longer. So I need some engine oil for my tonsils. Last week I did say I've got some stuff coming in the post. Surprise, surprise, some of it hasn't turned up because I think one book is coming from, I think it's an Amazon seller, but I think they were in the States. And the other thing is from China. They haven't yet turned up, so obviously I can't tell you about them or show you them because I ain't got them yet. But I did get a couple of other things. Nothing earth shattering. I got another book, more recipes. This one, which is quite a popular book. It's an American book. It is by Jamil Zanzi Chef and John Palmer. They sort of I say co-writ it, but they contributed various chapters and give one another credits. It is basically, I haven't got too far into it, but I have sort of read it from cover to cover, or I will be. I've got that far. Excuse me for the carbonation. But at the minute I'm at the start of the book, which we've gone past the hops and we're now at the yeast section. But there are several of his award-winning recipes which I let some of the people on Amazon who do the reviews say, yeah, it's extract. The recipes are extract, but all the ones I've looked at so far do have an all grain equivalent at the end or on the next page for the recipe, just to but it's got an all grain option at the bottom. Replace the wheat extract with 2 pounds of continental Pilsner malt and 6.9 pounds of wheat malt. Replace the Munich extract with 3 pounds of Munich malt. Simple. You can get crushed grains or uncrushed grains and crush them yourself, so you can adapt the recipe. Somewhere I've got written down the conversions to convert DME recipes to wheat to grain, or convert them to LME and vice versa, LME to DME. So if anyone wants to know what the hell they are, I've got them tucked away somewhere, so hopefully I can find them if you do ask. But yeah, if you've got books or recipes that quote liquid malt extract or dry malt extract and you want to know how to convert them to the same, or the weight in grain equivalent, I do have the equation somewhere, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And vice versa. I did use it, I have worked it out, and it, you know, the maths works out. But yeah, these are all recipes that basically he has entered into competitions and either won or come, you know, in the top 3 or whatever. So they're proven recipes, they work. Some extracts you can get in the UK. It's not very common over here, and I think the other thing from a personal note with liquid malt extract brewing is the availability and the cost. I mean, for what a can of, say, Cooper's light malt extract, you can buy a beer kit, or you can buy 2 beer kits, without having to then add grains and hops to make a beer. So there is the cost point of view over here and the availability. Most shops do not stock liquid malt extract, and it is as expensive as buying a beer kit. So probably this book isn't as popular as it can be because people haven't realised that you can obviously either convert it to DME, which you can buy but it works out expensive, or convert to all grain and do the recipes. I haven't found any in here from flicking through that haven't got an all grain equivalent suggestion in it. The same with the clone brews book I've got. There's mini mash extract and all grain versions in that. But this video is no doubt already stretching out because I've waffled on too long. But there's one more book which I've been meaning to get for yonks even before I've done the Smash reviews. Basically just to improve my knowledge on the beers, drinking of, tasting, identifying tastes. I haven't really read much of this at all because I'm still on that one, but it's this one, Tasting Beers by Randy Mosher. I think I have got a beer book by him. I know I've got the Roger Prost one and the Michael Jackson books, but I wanted to get this one as well. It does cover specific beers and styles within that beer, if you're interested in that. It goes into a little bit about brewing and understanding the mechanics of grains, hops, water, you know, what things do and contribute to beers. As much as I can tell you from starting. I got this one from Wordery. They were the cheapest place for a brand new copy of it. The Amazon versions, well, I think they were on it. But they're actually based in Norwich. 8 and a bit quid, something I can't remember exactly what that was. But yeah, brewing classic styles and tasting beer. So that's it from me. I can waffle on no more. Well, I probably could, but you're probably already bored. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this beer, struggle with my uploads, and see you next week. And at least you got your popcorn out this time, Kevin. Cheers. See you next week.